Queen of Knives is a movie that a lot of us can relate to. Two generations of a family come back together and things unravel in the most unexpected of ways. We have actress Mel Harris here, as well as Gene Pope, the actor, writer, and producer of the film. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Gene, let's go ahead and start. What sparked this story? Was it a particular holiday, a family member, a moment in life?
You know what really sparked it was I was looking at the kinds of movies that were out, and I was thinking back to movies that I really liked, particularly of Robert Altman. And Robert Altman had a habit of making a movie where you think you know what's happening. Oh, it's kind of a comedy. It's like, and all of a sudden, boom. Right when you least expect it, the whole movie changes, and then maybe it changes, snaps again. And I just felt that that's been kind of missing lately. And so I wanted to do a movie that would not be pigeonholed, but to go back into the humor of real life. And that the humor is not slapstick, it's just guffaw humor. You know, it's like different parts of the audience would go, oh yeah, I recognize that, or start giggling. And it worked. And that's basically what it was. And to show people that the generations are more alike than we know.
Oh,
well,
100%.
The humor is from life also.
Yes.
Which makes it so real.
No, that's very true.
And extra funny.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your character and moving on from a separation. You know, what did you want to say with this character, especially maybe to adult children of divorce and separation, and also to your peers?
Well, I mean, wow, that's a big question. I think one always wants to say to one's children when going through divorce that it's not about the children, that it's about our relationship and what that is. And I think that Kathy and Frank they do the best they can with the work that they've been given to be there for their children, but it's hard. And Kathy may have different opinions about how Frank does that, and I'm sure Frank has opinions about how Kathy does it. But and I think there's also self-discovery in breaking up and divorce, whoever initiates it, wherever it comes from. You know, it's never only one person's fault. There's two people in a marriage, in a partnership. And I think that that's, for Kathy, her character is she finds love with a woman, a partner, and I think she's as surprised by it. Well, probably not quite as surprised by it as Frank is, but you know, yeah.
I'm a guy, you know.
You're a special guy. Frank's a special
very
kind of
special.
guy. Yeah.
Frank is a special guy, and it's something that like you said, Gene, that we don't get to see that often, especially a man, 59 years old, and from his perspective of, relating to himself, relating to his career, relating to his children, getting back into dating life, and just kind of maybe those couple of moments of what it feels like to be young again. Talk a little bit about creating that character specifically.
I definitely looked back in my own history to gather pieces. When I was learning acting and went to a 2-year institute for it, so while I was there, a teacher came up to me and said, "You know what, Gene, you do devastation really well. You gotta now learn how to be happy in your parts." and basically what he was telling me was, you have a lot in your history to understand the gestalt of being miserable. and that's basically where that came from. But so you take that as an actor and you implant that in it, and then you work off the script with that behind it. And at the same time, though, Frank is a little guarded, so that has to be implanted. You see what I'm saying? So it's sort of like one from this column, one from this column, put it in, rehearse it, and see what comes out. Most importantly, working with wonderful actors like Mel, who work with you, and it gives you moment by moment ideas, basically, and then it just creates itself on the screen.
But it's also representative of trying to find the joys in life, even when from the outside looking in, it may not be a joyful situation or the history or whatever it is you've gone through. And I think that you did a great job in that, in finding some of the joy in moments. Other ones are just devastating, but it's an interesting thing to do. It's an interesting challenge as an actor.
And Mel, something that when I saw that you were part of this film is that I remember being a little kid watching, the news and seeing the controversy over 30-something in the episode with the two men in bed together. And it just kind of stuck a place into my head as far as like what that meant, at that time. And this movie has so many wonderful LGBTQ themes in it and characters. I mean, talk a little bit about maybe how we've come across, how we've progressed as a society, knowing
we've come a long way, baby.
Yeah.
A long way. I remember that show vividly because there was so much kickback, and for Ed Zwick and Marshall Herskovitz, bless their souls. and the network that supported us, that ABC that supported us. And there were, I can't remember, but there were many advertisers who pulled out and would not advertise on it. And the guys they were just lying in bed together. But Dick Van Dyke used to have his foot on the floor, I think it was thing. So it's just come a long way, and I think it's wonderful because it's representative. Queen of Knives is representative of a world that's out there, of a world that's about exploration and finding oneself, or experimenting with new things, defining gender. Gender is a huge thing in our society today, and confusing to some people.
And they address it all different types of way in the movie in a very respectful and
absolutely.
And I want to, if I may add, it's like also, it was not, I want to make that clear because some people have asked me this, is like, oh, you had did you intentionally put a mix of people in? And I said, it's New York City. It's already a mix. Of course the casting was going to be the way it was. And that's the one thing I wanted to point out, is that it wasn't intentionally trying to make a point. It was the natural order of things that these players play these parts. And that's it.
There's a wonderful scene with the bartender where he talks about working in Brooklyn and saying, this is my life. Like, of course I know all these types of things. So if you're looking for an explanation, look to that one particular scene in the movie. Let people know where they can go ahead and stream it, Gene.
Well, it's coming up on, it's for pre-sale right now with iTunes and Apple TV. And then on the 22nd, it will be on the usual video on demand, Apple Plus and Amazon, and a whole host of others that will be made available.
Awesome. I know you both have some wonderful connections to Chicago. We ran out of a little bit of time, but maybe just real quickly, where you said you went to school here, Gene? I
did. I went to Illinois Institute of Technology and quit after my second year because I wanted to go to work. And that's what started my recording engineer career right there.
And what about for you, Mel?
I have a child who lives there, and so I've been to Chicago very, very often, and it's a great city, and he has a child as well. So go figure.
Go figure. Queen of Knives, go ahead and pre-save it right now. Go ahead and watch it. It's going to be coming out next week. It's a wonderful film. Mel, Gene, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Have a great day.
You too.